Yo, was geht up? This is Max from Real Social Dynamics, and in this video, we'll be speaking about how to start getting results with women and in life in general when you have nothing going for you. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video. This is not one of these clickbaity, quick fix videos, 7 steps to get out of the friend zone kind of stuff. I've done these videos before. In this video, I want to embark on a little journey together with you because I kind of understand how frustrating and confusing it can be when you're starting out. You feel like you got nothing going for you, You might see other guys on social media crushing it, guys that might be younger than you, they make more money, they have more success, they have hotter girls, and you kind of sit at home and you're like, I feel like I've done everything right so far, I've ate my vegetables, I've went to school, yet I'm unhappy and I see other guys crushing it, and there's this whole fear of missing out playing in. And also, you kind of, maybe you'll be pointing your finger at yourself and be like, yeah, man, you've been a failure, etc. Maybe you're older and you've embarked on a different path already and you decided this is not the path you want to be on. Maybe you're younger and you're kind of aimless and you're like, I don't know, what am I going to be? Who am I going to turn into? Whoever you are, whatever age it is, I want to help you start out, and I'm going to embark on this journey together with you, how I embarked on this journey myself and how I made it out of there. Because, if my brand stands for anything, it is really that if I made it, you can make it as well, okay? I come from a 5,000 people cow town in the middle of the Austrian Alps. Nobody knew me. I didn't have anything going for me. I was below average at best, I would say. And I decided, I want to get out of there. I want to get to know hot, beautiful women. I want to date models. I want to be able to travel the world. I want to make money and be free. So I decided to embark on that journey, and I didn't have anybody to help me and show me the way. So I said, if I ever make it out of there myself, I want to become that person for somebody else. And right now with these YouTube videos and all this great stuff that I can shoot here, and my brand and my coaches and the mentoring program, I'm massively humbled that not a day goes by where I'm not extremely grateful to be in this position. So yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a longer video because I want to dive deep with you, and I want to step by step take you through my mindset and the exact actions that I've been taking to get out of this hellish pit myself. So sit back, enjoy, connect with me, turn that phone on airplane mode, and let's roll. Okay, so I think the first thing that you need to be aware of when you want to set out into the world and, conquer it and really fulfill your dreams is that change is both a mental effort as well as a habitual effort, okay? Mentality and habits. And obviously we'll be speaking about both here. In terms of mentality, you want to be clear of your goals, and you also want to be aware of the exact steps that you need to take in order to get there. Now, I call this concept big goals, small process. Write that down, big goals, small process. So when it comes to writing down your ultimate goal, I want you to be thinking something like, if anything in the world was possible, I mean, obviously, still in the physical realm possible, what would I like to do? And for me, it looked like this. I'm like, look, I want to travel the world. I want to be wealthy enough so I can live a financially free world, in a financially free world, and that I don't have to worry about money. I can take time off whenever I want. I want to have a work that fulfills me. I want to be able to date the hottest women in my life and not settle down with an average girl. And I want to have great influential friends, and I want to be able to do crazy dumb shit, like, I don't know, jumping out of an airplane, doing parachuting and stuff like that. I haven't done that yet, by the way, but I will soon. I want to be able to ride cool cars, and I want people to look up to me. So in all honesty, was that perfect goals? Was that, like very humble goals? No, it was probably a lot of ego-induced stuff as well. But at the same time, it was a big freaking goal. Because I remember, I'll never forget that moment when I changed to that ultimate goal. I was studying abroad in Washington, D.C., and I was well on my way to become a teacher for Latin and English. And I was living with a family in Washington, D.C. We'll walk a little bit that way because the music is a little too loud here. I was studying abroad in Washington, D.C., and I was hanging out with a family there. They were hosting me, and the mother of that family was a very cool woman. And she said, so Max, what do you want to do? And I'm like, yeah, I'm studying, I'll become a teacher. And she's like, you don't want to do that. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you don't want to stand in front of a class and talk to kids that are ungrateful. Max, I see it in your eyes. You don't want to do that. And I'm like, you're kind of right. I really don't want to do that. I really have no interest in doing that. It was more of a plan B for me. The safe plan, Oh, let's go to the fucking school and do that because my real goal is so far out there, I can't achieve it. So I kind of settled down for the easier goals. I love this music, by the way. This is really cool. We should give that guy some money later. And she kind of helped induce that seed in my brain, like, yeah, you know what, I should have a huge goal. And I want to tell you a second story of my really good buddy Kevin. He's one of my business partners now. He also has his own business, and he got offered a really good job by a really well-renowned big German company, and they said, look, you know, work for us, you're gonna have a nice decent salary, you're gonna have a nice good office job, everything's safe and secure, and at some point, you know, you'll be able to get a nice house, you know, 2.1 cars, 2.1 kids, you know, and a nice family, and when Kevin told me that, I'm like, dude, that's epic. Did you say yes to that job offer? And he said, no, dude. And I'm like, why? He's like, dude, I don't want to have a house and a car. I want to have a villa and a boat. And that was, again, like another interesting thing that kind of put the seed in my head of like, yeah, you know what? I should dream big. I should dream ridiculously big. So whatever the fuck your goal is, dream big. Don't settle down for an easier, safer choice. Dream freaking big. And you can kind of notice here too, I kind of knew what the results of my work are going to be, but I did not know what kind of work I'm going to do. So, because there's going to be a lot of people who now ask themselves, but I don't even know what kind of job I should have, what kind of skill I should learn. I don't even know. You see that I didn't know either. I just knew that I wanted to travel the world, be financially free, and date hot women. How I went to achieve that, I wasn't even sure of. I had to find out along the way. So don't even despair if you don't know the exact way to get there yet. What you have to do now, you set out your goals, dream as ridiculously big as you want. That's step one. And now number two, reverse engineer that. Shave off the years, down, all the way to the very moment where you're here right now. And reverse engineer it so you know exactly what you have to do in order to get there. So for me, it was like, okay, I want to make money, I want to be able to travel the world, inspire people, and date hot women. That was basically like the four kind of cornerstones. So I said, okay, in order to have people look up to me, I need to learn a certain skill, and I need to be really good at that. In order to make money, I then also need to be so good at that people pay me money to be coached by me. So, okay, and in order to get more women, I need to get better game. So I told myself, okay, I need to get better at game, I need to be really good at public speaking, and I also need to be really good at creating a brand. Right? So I reverse engineered it one step. And then I said, okay, so in order to create a brand, it would probably take me a couple of years. I would have to build the YouTube channel. I have to do public speaking, And I kept reverse engineering to the very point I was sitting there on my desk writing down my goals. Okay, so what are the first steps that I could do right now to make all this happen? Okay, well, guess right now, you know, it's 12 noon. I should go out and talk to a girl so I could work on my game. Then I should probably also start doing videos. Okay, where can I get a camera from? Wrote my friend, hey, do you have a film camera? Can I borrow that? Cool, great, I can pick up the camera tomorrow. Okay, I need content. Let me make more experiences and write down about this and then about that. So I just reverse engineered it to the very moment I am in right now. And that's what you should do. Do it with this freaking video, man. I mean, at some point you gotta start. And the thing is too, on a side note, was that process perfect? No. Did I have to add probably 500 steps in between? Yes. And that is totally fine. There's this whole idea of perfectionism that plays into young men's lives so much. I think it's almost like a male disease that we don't start because we have the perfect plan figured out yet. First, we have to figure out the perfect opener. We have to be perfect. You don't have to be fucking perfect. The big reason why you're probably watching my videos, why you're resonating a lot with me, is because Max is not perfect. Oh, Max talks about his fucking feelings. Max talks about his mistakes. Max talks about the fact that he has a small dick. That's what I like about him. So the thing is, again, you don't need to have everything perfectly figured out. Go ahead and start and figure shit out along the way. And then last but not least, you'll be aware that very fast. You have to be aware that you're gonna be in this for a freaking lifetime. You have to, as Gary Vee says, deploy patience, and you have to understand that this is a very, very long process. And if you don't learn to enjoy the process, if you're only in it for the goals, you're gonna have a very, very bad time. Because if I think about my journey, the first time I saw really good results where I'm like, okay, I have the finances handled, I have the inspirational side handled, I have the girls handled. Dude, took me probably around 5 to 6 years. I'm an 8-year journey right now, and I still feel like I haven't even done 30% of what I can achieve. It's a long ass freaking journey, so you need to be aware that it's gonna take a very long time. You need to be cool with that, and you need to learn to enjoy the process. And this is honestly something that will make everything easy for you. If you enjoy talking to the 7 as much as, you know, having great crazy sex all night long with a supermodel, if you enjoy those things, you know, roughly the same, you're gonna have a very, very good time. If you enjoy doing a seminar where 3 freaking people show up, my first seminar was 3 people showing up, and I enjoyed that just as much as speaking in front of 700, 800 people at a marketing fest that I did this year. I enjoyed just as much. And this is an effort that you do. It's not like, well, I happen to be a person that doesn't enjoy it as much. No, it's a mental effort that you do. You got to be excited. Holy shit, 3 freaking people showed up. That's amazing. I'm going to give these 3 people the best fucking seminar they've ever seen. And if 700, 800 people show up, holy shit, 700, 800 people show up, I'm going to give these guys the best freaking seminar they've ever seen. These words by Tyler, I will never forget. He said it in one of his videos. He's like, I don't care if you work at fucking Burger King. If you can't, I'm paraphrasing here. I don't care if you work at fucking Burger King. If you can't build a track record of you hustling hard, nobody can help you. If you're working at freaking Burger King, then you should make sure that you're gonna be the best fucking burger flipper this goddamn franchise has ever seen. And this is the exact right mindset that will help you start enjoying the process, that will help you build a kick-ass track record to actually execute the right things when you then do embark on your journey, which I hope is very, very early with the start of this video. That'd be great. Even if like a tiny 0.1% of the people who watch this video use this video to start out and actually, you know, start living their dreams, lay out their freaking goals, and then reverse engineer it step by step, that'd be great. That'd be really, really freaking great. All right, and that's the big goals, small process part of the whole spiel. Okay, it's getting really freaking cold here, but the second point is detox your mind, because in order to become a successful person, you have to think like a successful person, and that means you have to cut out a lot of bullshit that has been toxifying your mind, because chances are very high that if you're watching this, you have a lot of toxicity in your mind. People talk about detoxing your body all the time. Yeah, what about detoxing your mind? So we need to cut out a lot of things. Number 1, cut out reading any sort of magazines or newspapers. Number 2, stop watching the news. Number 3, stop watching TV. Especially news are literally there to keep you in a continuous loop of anxiety and fear. It wants you to consume more. It wants you to shut the fuck up. It doesn't want you to go outside. One of my favorite quotes is, outside? You can't go outside. There's ISIS and clowns. Yeah, that's what the media is trying to tell you nowadays. So news doesn't even matter. Most of the stuff is made up. Most of the stuff, you know, if it bleeds, what is it? If it bleeds, it leads. I don't even know what anymore. If it bleeds, it converts well. All this shit. You don't need this. It's toxic. It's toxicity for your mind, okay? All kinds of magazines, all kind of quick fix magazine solution bullshit. Cut all that out. You don't need it. It's literally garbage for your brain. On top of that, you need to also cut out toxic relationships. This is a topic that cannot be emphasized enough. This is a topic that most people ignore and neglect. But the pull that toxic people can have on your life, the gravitational force dragging you down, it is so powerful. And if you do not learn to remove yourself from these kind of people, you're gonna have a very bad time and you're never gonna make it out. I understand that most of the toxic people that probably are in your life are family members or old good friends, and you know, just out of comfort and out of being accustomed to that, you're gonna be like, well, you know, I've been friends with this guy for years. Why would I cut him out? How does that even work? I can't. Well, you can. And same goes with your family. Move out if you can. If you can't move out, reverse engineer it more. Well, why can't I move out? Well, because I don't have enough money. Okay, how can you make more money? Okay, if I put in some more hustle. Everything is possible if you reverse engineer it. Whatever excuse that comes up into your head, reverse engineer and be like, well, how can I fix that? We'll be speaking more about empowering questions versus disempowering questions later on. But back to the topic of cutting out toxic people. The way you cut out toxic people, I made a whole video about that, is basically you don't come up to them and be like, I'm going to cut you out of my life because you're a toxic person. I'm better than you now. No, this never works. It will lead to massive resistance and it won't work out. What you do is you simply stop spending time with you. And if they hit you up, hey bro, you want to, you know, go smoke weed and do nothing the whole weekend while you have actually planned to hustle and work on your dreams, you politely say, hey, sorry bro, I already got something to do. Okay, I already have other plans. And whenever you do feel like they drag you down, you know, maybe they're your colleagues at work or people that are going to your same school, just agree, nod, but mentally shut yourself off from them, okay? I get this many times that people are like, well, all my friends are chodes. None of them go out. And they all, you know, talk about how girls are like stupid and how they only want money, da-da-da. Like, it's not in your responsibility to teach them otherwise, because it's a bottomless pit, you know? You're going to discuss with your 5 friends who are so deep down the mainstream narrative rabbit hole. You're going to discuss with 5 friends. You want to convince them that it's important to go out and shit. You won't do it. It will waste your time and your energy. Simply agree and nod, and in your head shut yourself off from them. Okay, now especially with the holidays, people saying, well, I hang out with my family, they're all toxic, da-da-da. They all talk about like money's evil, but I want to become rich, da-da-da. Agree and nod and shut yourself off mentally. That's the very least you can do, but ideally you physically remove yourself from that situation as much as you can. Okay, cut out toxic people. And what's also important is your own toxic thoughts that you need to cut out. Actually, just yesterday, I was on my weekly mentoring calls with my mentoring group, and one guy, he appeared, he was on the call, it was his first week in the program, and you could literally see the weight of the world on his shoulders, and he's like, Max, you and me, we're very different, because every time I see a hot girl, every time I want to work out, go to the gym, I have these toxic thoughts in my head telling me that I'm not good enough, that I shouldn't do it, that I should give up, that it's probably not going to work out anyway. And I'm like, wait, hold on a second, sorry to interrupt you here, but you and me are not different. These are the exact same thoughts that I still have in my mind. And he was actually kind of surprised, and I hope you're aware of that whenever you have those thoughts, it's normal. Everybody has these thoughts. I have these thoughts. The only difference is I don't listen to them anymore. You listen to them and you give them more power. I don't listen to them and I take power away from these kind of thoughts. In order to overcome that problem, you have to understand that you can't get rid of these thoughts. You can never get rid of these thoughts. What you can do is you can learn to ignore them. You can learn to smile, nod, and then go ahead and do it anyway. Okay, I always make that example of, maybe you remember when you were playing video games with your buddy on the couch and your mom was like yelling at you like, dinner is ready, but you were super into the game right now. You're right here, like, yeah, I'm playing the game. Oh my God, here's the enemy, fucking Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, and your mom's like, got it, dinner is ready. You're like, yeah, mom, You were listening to her, but you went ahead and did it anyway because you were so focused on your goals in that game. If you would have talked to your mom, Mara, shut the fuck up, I want to fucking play this game now, you would have given her more energy, she would have yelled back at you and nothing would have happened. So you're just like nodding like, yeah, and focused on your purpose, which was that game. Nowadays you can do exactly the same. Your purpose is your life now, is your actual life's purpose. So when those nagging thoughts come in, you're not good enough, you should give up, you're like, I'm too busy fucking hustling that I can give you some energy here. I can't, because I'm too busy working on my freaking dreams. That is also a big part of detoxifying your mind. I hope that helped you out. Now, let's crack it to the next point. All right, so now that you've detoxified your mind, now it's time to refill your mind with the right kind of shit. Number 1, make yourself understand that it is possible. That it is possible to go from somebody completely unknown, that is not cut from a different cloth, that is not special, a complete average guy like you and me, to actually go out there and learn to conquer the world. It is possible. And one great way to do that is biographies. It sounds very simple, like read biographies or autobiographies. It's basically an insight into a great person's mind, and it probably tells you a lot about his upbringing, where they came from, how they struggled with their own fears, with their own negative thought loops, and how they still made it, okay? Big book recommendations here: Elon Musk's biography, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Total Recall autobiography, Finding My Virginity and Losing My Virginity by Richard Branson. Anything that describes the life of somebody who's made it from zero to something. I really have to say, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's book is great, especially for me as an Austrian. I resonated so much with it. How he came from this little village, how he had these crazy dreams. Everybody told him it was not possible. For him, it was probably way more difficult than it was for me back in those times. And if you read that, you're really like, man, Schwarzenegger is just another guy, man. He just had a freaking dream and he just executed over years. And he did not give up when he had setbacks. Like, just reading that, just for 10, 20 minutes every day before you go to sleep, it keeps your mind it's almost like you're putting a steak into this like marinade, and it soaks up all the nutrients of the marinade, and then the steak is ready. Like, that's what you're doing with your brain. You're putting into this marinade of like, it's possible, and all the cool nutrients of being inspired, it gets soaked up by your brain. That's one thing. The other thing is, find your own personal triggers for dreaming big. That could be anything. That could be also autobiographies. That could be like, you know, watching The Wolf of Wall Street if you want to have a similar kind of life. It's just continuously having that loop of inspiration in your brain. Again, like keeping those eyes on the goal. For me personally, as silly as it sounds, it was these motivational videos. And you heard me talk a lot of shit about motivational videos recently, because I'm like, it's not about motivation, it's about discipline, which it obviously is. The whole habitual side of change, we will be talking about this in a second. But we're still talking about the mind side here, the mindful effort. And motivational videos, they triggered me. They were, in a positive way, they triggered real change. Like, I would listen to the same fucking motivational video over and over and over again. I could literally speak the whole video by heart. I would cry at my favorite parts because I'm like, yes, I can do it. You know, I said it earlier, if you have a plan B, plan A never works. I got that sentence from a motivational video, and sometimes if I still watch these videos, I shed a tear of joy. And I listen to these multiple times per day just to continuously have my brain and my eyes focused on the goal. And the third point here is empowering questions versus disempowering questions. If you listen to somebody who's made it, you know, a rich guy, a pro athlete or whatever, they always ask themselves the right questions. If you also read a book by Paul Watzlawick called How Real is Real, I think, he also talks about how we build our own reality with the communication that we have with others, but also the communication that we have with ourselves. That means there's two kinds of questions that you can ask yourself on a daily basis: disempowering questions and empowering questions. What's a disempowering question? A disempowering question is, you're standing in a nightclub and you see another guy picking up the girl that you've been looking at for the last 10 minutes. And you ask yourself, why do I never get the girls? Why am I not capable to get laid? Why do girls never like me, right? Those are all disempowering questions. By asking yourself these questions, what do you do with yourself? Do you set yourself up for success, or do you basically make yourself feel like shit? It's probably the latter. However, in the same situation, you could choose to ask yourself empowering questions. So you see the freaking guy, you know, jamming his tongue down the girl's throat, and she likes it, and you're like, fuck. And instead of asking yourself, why do I not get laid? You ask yourself, what can I learn from this guy right now in terms of behavior that I can use to change and get to his level? What can I do right now in this situation to get the girl? What can I do to learn? That's now a question that puts yourself into a position of power and learning. You see that maybe even when you ask yourself this question, you feel empowered yourself. You're ready to go out and crush it. Now, it's an accumulation of these types of questions on a day-to-day freaking basis. Okay, you need to put in, I mentioned earlier, awareness in your own negative thought loops. Okay, this is where I'm thinking negatively. I'm making an effort to choose not to listen to that. And the same kind of effort you need to put into ask yourself the right type of questions. Call yourself out whenever you ask yourself, why don't I get laid? Why am I not rich? Wait a minute, is that empowering me or disempowering me? Okay, well, what would be a way to ask an empowering question, which is in itself an empowering question already? Well, what actions can I take to actually start getting laid? Okay, that's an empowering question. Well, what action can I take right now? How can I reverse engineer it to now start making the first steps toward getting laid more? So you can kind of see empowering questions versus disempowering questions. And the last point about how to refill up your brain is hanging out with the right people. And it's basically the opposite of what I said earlier. Cut out toxic people, bring in more positive people. Now, I hear you saying shit like, okay, Max, I also live in the village. There is no rich guy. There is no guy that is really good at game, la-di-da. Okay, I get it. But you don't need to hang out with a 10 out of 10 person. All you need to, I mean, ideally, if you can, hell the fuck yeah, you know, go for it. Guys in the mentoring program always say that, like, dude, I'm hanging out with Max and Max's coaches who are all getting laid, who are exactly where I want to be. That's great. That's obviously ideal, but all you need is a guy that is 20%, 10% better than you at something, okay? So you can hang out with the guy who's bigger at the gym. okay? He has more muscle, so you can hang out with this guy and, you know, you can kind of learn from him. What is his morning routine? How disciplined is he with his nutrition? How many reps does he do even though he's super dead? He might be a total show when it comes to girls, but you can definitely learn from him a bunch of valuable lessons such as discipline, sticking to the core plan, etc. Same goes for going out, honestly. I oftentimes hung out with guys that had a worse game than me, but they were more motivated to go out. So this guy would, you know, fuck up every other set that we would go in together, but at the same time, he would freaking call me on Monday at 11 p.m. like, hey bro, let's go out, let's go pimp. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, yeah, let's go. So I would be motivated by this guy and he would push me. So hanging out with the right type of people that are willing to take some form of action is already gold. If you can't have the master pimp 10 out of 10 RSD Max mentoring coach at your disposal, you can at least hang out with the guy who's really motivated to take freaking action, because the rest you can teach, okay? You can teach a guy that is really motivated to go out and pimp. You can teach him a couple, you know, right things to do at game so he doesn't fuck up your sets. But what you can't teach a person is the willingness to hustle, the willingness to grind it out. If you find a person like this, hold on to that person. And obviously there's a lot about you attract who you are. So the moment you decide, hey, I want to go out, I have enough of a mediocre life, I'm going to go crush it, sooner or later you will attract these type of people into your life. Sure, you could probably have a couple of months where those people don't step into your life yet because you don't have the consistency yet. But sooner or later you will attract these kind of people in your life. And once you have a little bit of momentum going, now the right kind of people show up, now you welcome them into your life, you have awareness how big of an advantage it can be to have these people in your life. And then it will be easier and easier and easier for you to stay on track. And all of a sudden, you have all these people that support you, that support each other, that you can support, and you have this epic upward spiral of success. This is exactly the kind of stuff we're doing in a mentoring program. It's not even a lot about content in this program. It's more about having continuous feedback from us coaches and really following up with people if they're slacking off. That's the actual real change-inducing probability that we can offer in a mentoring program. And the more you can create this kind of environment for yourself, the better off you'll be. So now this is a lot about mind talk. Mind talk, mind talk, mind talk. Let's talk about the habits, the actual doing. And yo, if you're still watching this, great! Okay, this is a long video, and if you're still watching this, it means you're well on your way to actually induce some change. Really, really freaking loving it. Let's switch into the next point, habitualizations. Okay, so as promised, let's crack into the habitual, actual taking action part. Because if you've just watched the first half of this video, you know, just write down the goals and just feel really good about yourself. Like, yeah, that doesn't do anything, okay? It's about consistency, okay? Consistency above everything else. If you like, positive thinking alone doesn't do shit for you, okay? This whole like the secret, like just really be positive and it will manifest itself. Oh, no, that's not how it works. You still gotta take action. So I call this part set up habits and rules. Now, like I said, it's about consistency. Consistency. And I'm talking about consistency anything beyond 6 months, okay? So really the first 6 months is you just kind of building the habits. People say 8 weeks. 8 weeks definitely is a big milestone that you have to reach. If you reach 8 weeks with certain habits, great, amazing. If you reach 6 months, hell yeah, chances are very high that you're never gonna give up. If you reach a year, 2 years, yeah, you're full on in it. You're totally enjoying the process, everything's epic. Okay, so setting up habits. Now, again, you've reverse engineered where you want to be in your life and what kind of actions you have to take in order to get there. Now, what you have to do now is you have to turn these steps into daily habits, right? So I'm gonna give you my example here. It's a little bit of a personal video. So I said, okay, I want to get better at game, I want to be better at presenting, and I want to build a brand. So for me, a daily habit was go out and approach. So every day I said, like, dude, on a side note, every time somebody asks me, like, how much do I have to go out? I'm like, what kind of question is that? That's a disempowering bullshit question. How much can you go out? Because the freaking guy who goes out 3 hours a day is definitely going to get better than the guy who only goes out 3 hours a week. Now, I get it, you probably don't have time to go out 3 hours a day, but how much time do you have? How many approaches can you do in your freaking lunch break? How many approaches can you do in the metro on the way, on the morning commute? Go squeeze in as many approaches as you can. Make it a habit, okay? Approaching every day, approaching 4 times per week, make it a freaking habit. On top of that, morning routines. We waste so much time in the morning by just dabbling until we like kind of find out what we want to do today. If you have a morning routine, you get up and you're ready to crush it. Okay, a morning routine could be something like get up, go drink your bulletproof coffee, meditate 15 minutes, write down your goals for the day, read 10 minutes, you know, have a business meeting with your team, whatever the frick it is. Make it a habit. Make it a morning routine so you're getting up and you're starting to crush it right away. You don't get into this like dabble twilight zone in the morning where you just kind of scroll through your, like, check my Facebook, check my Instagram, and all this kind of stuff. Get rid of that. Morning routine. Same habit could be going to the gym. Going to the gym is something we pick up very often as young guys, you know, because we think like, oh, if we have a six-pack, girls will want to fuck us, which, you know, it kind of helps if you really want to, but what mostly helps is the discipline that you develop alongside is the consistency that you develop with the gym, because you're like, well, my biceps is not going to get bigger unless I work out every day, or, you know, like unless I do something good for my body every day, or have good nutrition. Don't work out your biceps every day, it's bad. Work it out a couple times per week. But anyways, you get the gist. Build up habits. And I kind of mentioned social media earlier as well, because it's a little bit of a two-sided coin, because on one side I said don't scroll through Facebook, don't scroll through Instagram, but on the other side I have a bunch of videos where I'm saying use Instagram, it's incredible for your game. I make most of my money through Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, so the simple thing that you got to do here is you set up a habit of posting, creating content, because it helps you with game, it can help you with your brand building if that is one of your goals, and not consuming. So if you would say the time I use for posting content and creating content is, I would say 90% of the time I'm on my social media. 10% is consuming it, just kind of seeing what other people post, kind of trying to learn from them, kind of see, okay, what do my followers want, what do they respond to the best, etc. The rest is just posting. So that's another habit that you can, if it serves your goal, set up for yourself. Creating content, posting, but not getting into this like passive tube of like herpity brainlessly scrolling and letting the hours and hours just go by wasted, okay? So set those habits up. And let me check my notes here real quick, because I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Going out every day. Oh yeah, and last but not least, another habit when it comes to games should be following up with girls. It feels like we're letting too many girls just go by not following up properly, because we kind of forget, because we tell ourselves, oh, you know what, we're not good enough anyway, oh, it's not going to work out anyway, oh, the initial interaction wasn't good anyway, why should I even text her? Fucking try it. Make it a habit of always following up with everybody. There's people in our mentoring program that couldn't join the first time because, you know, they didn't have enough time, they didn't feel ready, blah, 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 some random excuse. And because we followed up with them, they're like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And then they got laid like crazy and they got amazing results and they're super happy and they're some of our best clients because we simply followed up with them. So get in the habit of actually following through with every single girl. Okay, this is really key. Now, let's talk about rules, because just as you set up habits, you can set up certain rules that actually help you out a lot. So, for example, one of the first things we do in our mentoring program is we let our people write a contract to themselves. And that contract says something along the lines of, I will do whatever it takes. I will do whatever is in my power to get really good at game. And they write that contract, they sign it themselves, they put a date on there, because it sets up certain rules for them. You can even write those rules down in your contract. Another rule could be, the moment I feel resistance, I gotta do it. It's one of the greatest rules I've lived by for years now, and it's gotten me the best girls in my life. You know, excuse me, you know, you're walking down the street, you're sitting at Starbucks, you see this intimidatingly beautiful hot girl. What's the first thing you're gonna feel? Resistance, excuses. I can't talk to her. No, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't feel like ready. You feel this resistance. If you set up a rule, the moment I feel resistance, I have to do it. So you have this resistance for 10 seconds, and then you're like, hold on a second, shit, I remember my rule. Every time I feel resistance, I gotta do it. I just did feel resistance. Fuck, fine, I'll do it. You go talk to her, and you're creating epic, amazing opportunities and adventurous situations for yourself. So this could be another rule, and again, it could be in your contract, if you will. And oh yeah, and you know what else I did? This maybe sound weird now at this point, but I also set down a rule for myself to have 1 day off per week. Because if you really are committed to what you want to do, you're gonna work hours every day on your goal. Because another rule of mine would be that I'm not gonna do anything that does not bring me closer to my goals. So any activity that I wanted to do, like, oh, you know, drink some beer with my buddies in the park, I asked myself, does it bring me closer to my fitness goal? No. Does it bring me closer to my game goal? No. Does it bring me closer to my brand building goal? No. Okay, so I won't do it. So I set up that rule, like I can only do things that bring me closer to my goal, except for 1 day of the week. I did that to prevent burnout. So every Monday I said, I don't have to do anything. If I don't feel like it, don't do it, okay? I took a day off from the gym. I took a day off from approaching. I took a day off from having to forcefully do whatever I can. This is a rule that I put in, I think, 2 or 3 years into my journey. I put that rule in fairly late because I felt I needed a break. In the beginning, if you feel like, hey, I don't need that rule, I don't need it yet, then go ahead and just fucking hustle through for a couple months. That's cool too. But you need to be able to listen to your own mind and to your own attitude and see how far you can push it. If you feel like, hey, I need a little bit of time off in between, it's totally cool. Take a day off in a week. Take an evening off. That's totally cool. Take 10 minutes off in your morning routine of just, you know, like watching some dumb YouTube video, or 20 minutes a day, something like that. Set up rules. Because again, if you set up rules, you're giving yourself responsibility. When you follow these rules, you start feeling more empowered because you're like, cool, I can set up my own rules. I can be the own guidance for myself. It feels very empowering. You can learn how to trust yourself, because I've also had that recently in a mentoring call. A guy said, like, I can never trust myself. How do I develop deep-rooted trust in myself? I said, well, set up certain milestones for you and then don't fuck it up, and then execute properly on that. So setting up those rules and, you know, obeying those rules that you set up for yourself is a great way to build trust in your own capabilities. Now, guess what? Those rules are going to get bigger. Those habits are going to get more complicated. Your goals are going to get bigger in life. And it's because you started with a small goal. How far do you think can you push it when you have that rule of like, oh, I have to talk to a hot girl whenever I feel resistance? Guess what? You might start with that. 5 years down the road, you might have a freaking goal of like, I have to execute a proper business idea if I have one. All of a sudden, instead of, you know, maybe getting a little kiss from a hot girl on a date, maybe now you're getting 10 million, you know, as a reward for sticking to your own rules. It's incredible. So you can see these habit building things, they're all intertwined, they're all connected. So you can create something out of nothing. You can become someone greater, someone better, someone faster, someone smarter. That's hell of a lot of work. Okay, and as I'm really freezing my ass off here, the last point is go to bed smarter and stronger every day. Sounds like such a cliche phrase, I get it, but hear me out. Look, you're gonna have peaks and valleys in your progress. People think success starts down here and it goes up straight and then you have it. That's wrong. It's peaks and valleys, my friend. So probably you feel motivated and inspired after this video right now, right? So you have a little bit of peak, like, oh great, maybe you're going out the next day, you're willing to take action, and now you get a little bit of rejection, you're not getting a lot of numbers, the girls are not down, the gym feels really difficult, you really want to eat that burger, so now you're gonna hit that little first valley and you say, oh, it doesn't work, and you give up. But don't give up. Anybody who's ever amounted to something realizes when you hit that valley and you stick to the process and you stick to the habits and you stick to your rules and you stick to the detoxifying of your mind and refilling up with positivity and the right kind of things, you will hit another peak. And the great thing is you'll hit peaks and valleys all the time, but the overall tendency, if you stay consistent and building habits, will be upwards. You gotta realize that. And the easiest way to keep going when things seem to fall apart, when you are in that deep valley again, is ask yourself every time you go to bed, well, am I smarter today? Am I stronger today? Chances are always 100% yes if you've done something that will bring you closer to your goal. Okay, so look, I get it, dude. Sometimes you have great weeks. girls are replying to you, you're going out, you're crushing it, you know, you're getting laid, you're feeling good, you're waking up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 text messages by hot girls, you're like, it works, yeah! And then literally the next week, no girl hits you up, date doesn't work out, this doesn't work out, this girl doesn't want to have sex with you and stuff like that, you know, and you feel bad. But at the same time, before you give up, ask yourself, wait, hold on a second, if I go to bed now, am I gonna go to bed smarter and stronger? Even if it's a tiny little bit, 1%, if the answer is yes, then you are on your way, and that's great. Same goes for the gym. Sometimes you have great days, sometimes you have bad days, sometimes you get a new PR, sometimes you gotta do deload. It's okay. Will you go to bed a tiny little bit stronger today? Yes. Great. That is all you need to do in order to keep crushing it. Consistency trumps everything. The guy who shows up consistently at an average of 7 out of 10, he's gonna get better than the guy who shows up once per week, 10 out of 10, and the other times he slacks off. Consistency trumps everything. On top of that, when you go to bed, every now and then, every couple months, look back and see how far you've come, okay? Look back and see what are the experiences you've had. What are the crazy things you've done, even though you thought they were impossible? And maybe, what are the kind of things that you've given back? What are the tiny bits of inspiration or wisdom that you've helped out somebody else? Because that is the last point, is be that person for somebody else. And remember what I said in the beginning, the people you surround yourself with, they don't have to be 10 out of 10, they just have to be a little bit better in a tiny little area of life, a little bit better than you. And you can be that person for somebody else. You don't need to be the perfect epic pro at game. You can already have someone who's a little worse at something than you, and you can help him out. Give something back, and you know, be a support for that kind of person, because number one, it's good karma, but also number two, it helps you out learn the process. The more you reiterate your learnings, the better you can learn yourself. Understand that. I always say that myself. Who's learning the most in the mentoring group? Probably my mentoring clients. But you know who also learns a fuck ton? Me, myself. Who's learning the most when I'm doing this video? I hope you are, but I'm learning a lot myself. Every time I'm reiterating these concepts, I'm reinforcing my own reality, my own learning, my own life lessons that I've accumulated. So give back. Go to bed smarter and stronger every day, even if it's a tiny little bit. Don't get discouraged by these little peaks and valleys, okay? And also, help someone out. Okay, be that inspiration for somebody else, because that way you create that positive upward spiral of epicness. And that positive upward spiral of epicness is something that we do in the Max Mentoring Program. That is something that I, the small, weird Austrian with the patchy beard from a 5,000 people countdown, is so freaking grateful for. I'm freezing my ass off. I really got to go inside now, but I want to leave you with this last point here. The fact that I'm able to do this with my epic team, that I can surround myself with other A players and give this value to you, it means the freaking world to me. So I'm standing here in this cold as a man who's achieved his own dreams and who's hopefully continuing to achieve more and more of his dreams. Grateful beyond anything, and I want to thank you for the support. I want to thank you for every single comment, for every little DM, for every Instagram DM, for every email that you've sent us, for every approach that you're doing. I want to thank you, because you taking action, it shines a positive light on us as well, and that is extremely freaking powerful. And together with this brand, whether you're in a mentoring program or not, together with this brand, we're creating an upward spiral of amazingness. And I do believe, as utopian as that sounds, that the world becomes a tiny little bit better by us becoming more self-actualized men, and hopefully also women, by becoming more attractive, stronger, more intelligent versions of ourselves, by learning how to read social dynamics, by learning how to, it starts with to learn how to pick up chicks, but where does it end? It ends with learning how to become a better freaking person. And like I said, this really means the world to me. I have a really cool offer for you. You can jump on an actual phone call with us, with me and my team. On that phone call, we're going to listen to your situation. We're going to develop a free battle plan together with you to basically set you up for success. Okay, if you want to join that call, it's entirely for free. There's a link down in the description below. We'll have it appear somewhere here as well. Click that link, it brings you to an application page. You fill out that application, it takes you 1 minute, and then maybe you can get a free consulting call with us very, very soon. And if you then want to join the RSD Max Mentoring Program, where you have continuous 24/7 support by me and my coaches, and where we set you up on a structure, and you can follow that, we follow up with you, you get on calls multiple times per week with us. You can always do that. Let us know on that call, but at the very least you can get a free consulting call, and maybe we'll talk very, very soon. It's very, very great, because if you're watching this video right now, if you're still watching this, it's a longer video. You're hopefully ready to change your life now. You're hopefully ready to put things in your own hands and to fucking start steering this epic ship that is your life into the harbor that you want to be in, okay? Into your goal. So I hope this empowered you. I hope you can take action. I hope you'll be speaking very, very soon with me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Go take freaking action together today. We're making this world a tiny little bit better. Thank you very much, and GG.